there, welcome to another session of Letters to Loved Ones. Today I'm actually reading a poem that I wrote within a class called the Scribblers Union, founded by P Gilday, a published poet. He published a book called Sad Songs for White Boys, and he also recently released an album called P Gilday and the Glasgow Cross. Their album is called Pure Concrete. I have the details listed below of how to purchase either. Kevin founded the Scribblers Union during Corona so that poets could get together and practice their art within a group and also keep up their spirits, during a very hard time. I'll get right to it. Also, I should explain that I'm trying to be a fantasy writer. So poetry is sort of comes across through fantasy. It's not. So I recently entered a poetry contest, and it was about dragon fighting and whatnot, and people were looking at me like, what are you reading? So anyways, now you know what's coming up, so there shouldn't be any crazy surprises. Anyways, this one I call A Dragon's Eye in the Forest. They dashed from their cover. They waited long enough. Heavy snow held down branches. Their passing makes their ancient wooden arms rise, heaving up a storm of white, chunkier than waves, but quiet as wind, to fall indiscriminately on those with fierce faces and intending eyes, set on sights far beyond the forecasted aim of a shooting star. She knows they are coming. She carved the ruin that read their names on the back of her leg, just under her skirts, so that when she was questioned and threatened, thrown down from her chair, she maneuvered her legs so their names scorched the floor, calling them through the earth. What is it about clothing, rippling, facial expressions void of color, that makes us a target of the light? Nothing different, nothing new makes one shadow fall to the earth, however the light is angled. She sits there that way, firelight lighting up the left corners of her eyes, but her eyes are walking. You can see it when they flicker and wince, when she doesn't see you, but she's looking right at you. Past you, like the battle is still raging around her, and she's watching those running past her, attracted like flies to the contest of testing their skills against exploding spells before them. 10,000 upon thousands of arrows darkening the sky, darkening enough to reveal the glowing dragon eyes deep within an unseen cave, the rest of the face submerged in a void of mystery. Her guard watched with interest as she looped it around, turning and twisting between her weaving fingers, along her brow and down behind her ear, almost ready for the knots at the end. Her fool captors thought she braided her hair in so many ways to fend off boredom, but she was weaving prayer braids of death, woven with rope, prayer ribbons threaded between 3 bounds of fate, as her mother had taught her. But she had to settle for material ripped from her sleeve, the only garment she had left from the old world, dyed and weaved from the land, made while singing to the gods, worn while dancing close to sinful sacrifice, covered in spotted blood from those wronged. But then she stopped at the final knot, blinking, snapping out of some kind of concentration that went well beyond these unpainted walls, and she would slowly unravel her hair. It made no difference to her if all the paths of your life flowed through her fingers or dangled to her shoulders. As the guard shook his head, humor of it all, she would wait, not long, but before she began again. As a child, she started to say to every person she met, she looked up and pointed at what they were doing, and they said she should stop. They told her children weren't supposed to point at such things out. She listened, but her eyes looked right at what they were doing. But even she could see their actions had no interest in their own words, but they couldn't take her glares, judgment of once innocent eyes, condemned the acts of the damned. The eyes of a child may be blind to many things, but that innocence alone, it's damning to those with guilt in their heart. They offered her titles, gifts, money, but she was too young to understand or even want such things. Her eyes never changed. She was never a child or a woman. She was faith and wrath wrapped in one. Her eyes moving over you like too much sun, burning your skin and calling water from your eyes so that you couldn't move from the place you wanted to be found, turning you around in a circle of whipped up leaves so you squirm and utter lies, excuses that you were finally glad to be caught, believing in what you were taught. A liar's last word is one for the birds. Such misdirection can come out from the woods, confused and misunderstood. A whole other mirror just underfoot, a mirror you walk onto until foot against foot. The main purpose of Kevin's class is that he teaches us how to read poetry. So we're coming out of our our shells. We're not all reading at the same tone, or as I often do, way too fast. So we're just, practicing how to perform, and he's doing a great job, and so is everybody else. And I hope you enjoyed the read. Thank you.